Alright, welcome to the Jazz and Eli podcast, the podcast where recently we bring you some news and share our opinion on the matter. And of course, we have to give you a disclaimer. We are in no way a legitimate news organization.
Nope, not even close.
We have done some mild research, but please take everything we say with a grain of salt and feel free to fact check us in the comment section down below.
We go.
Yep, and now roll the intro music. We are going to start talking about our home state.
Oklahoma.
Yep. Recently, Oklahoma has passed some bullshit laws and or have some people say some things that are a little stressful.
To say the least.
Yeah, so we're going to start with the anti-LGBT laws, just like the one recently. From our source, the Human Rights Watch article written by Ryan Thoresen.
Alright, so, within the last month, our lovely governor, Mary fucking Fallon, Fallon. Yeah, that's what I said the first time. Anyway, she has signed some laws allowing state-funded adoption agencies, although private, they do get state money, and foster care agencies to use their religious beliefs as a reason for denying a home to a child, not allowing any LGBTQIA, etc., to adopt or foster.
Yep.
I'm not sure if it extends to the children themselves, like if they are LGBTQIA.
They can't find a home.
That they are not placed because of it. I don't know if that actually extends to them, but I have a feeling it probably does. I mean, we're talking about this state.
Yeah.
About as homophobic as it gets.
Yeah, for real.
Let's see. According to the article, the bill was designed to keep agencies from having to place kids with LGBTQ parents. But LGBTQ parents are 6 times more likely to foster children than heterosexual parents and 4 times more likely to adopt.
It doesn't just affect LGBTQ parents, but can also deny anyone based on their marital status, race, and religion.
So that means if a single parent wants to adopt, or somebody who has a conflicting religion, say Islam or
Judaism,
Buddhism, or whatever, they can be denied, and that's wrong.
It is wrong. Or if they're of a color that they, just don't care for. If you're a brown or slightly any different color, then you're going to be looked at as a non-contender.
Well, and thanks to LGBT not being a protected class, there aren't any laws to protect them in 42 states.
42 of 50. Yeah.
Yeah.
We still have miles to go.
Yeah. We sure do.
There need to be more laws protecting LGBTQIA families and look out for the best interest of children in this country who have no home. We need to protect LGBTQIA children as well, because these kids can be subject to becoming homeless if their parents kick them out for being LGBTQIA. And these parents see little to no consequences for abandoning their children due to whatever reason they have. This country needs to stop being so hateful and using their religious beliefs as a reason for being this way. I'm not saying all Christians act like this, but there are some out there who make the loving, compassionate Christians look bad.
Yeah, no doubt.
Just, ugh.
What I don't get is the parents that say, I, for instance, abandoned my child at 14 years old, just kicked him out onto the street for being trans. I would not receive any real repercussions that I'm aware of, whereas if I say kicked Samantha out, I might.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if I just basically say, oh, my religious beliefs, end of conversation.
Oh, nobody's going to ask you again.
And that's just, you should not be able to just up and abandon your children like that. And to
And that causes higher
prevents-
suicide rates, too, in the LGBTQ
and also to
kids.
prevent these kids from getting homes because you think what somebody's doing in their bedroom is icky is even worse.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, my sex life never came into effect when it came to raising my children.
No, God, and if it does, you've got bigger issues.
Really? I mean, if what's going on behind the closed doors of your bedroom is affecting your parenting, you got issues.
Yeah, for real.
And they're way bigger than what your sexual orientation is or who you're doing those things with.
Mm-hmm.
It shouldn't, who I'm having sex with should not have any bearing on what sort of parent that I am.
Oh, yeah, exactly. There are heterosexual parents out there who
Are
abuse.
horrible people.
And we're not saying
Horrible
all
people.
heterosexual parents are this way, but there are heterosexual parents who do
Like, you
dip
know,
into the foster kids.
the people who called my daughter Satan while she was helping them move
Yeah.
because she is not Christian and thought that gay marriage was fine. That's not okay. She was like, what, 14, 15 at the time?
Yeah.
15 or 16
15,
maybe?
yeah, something like that.
Yeah, she was a little bit younger than she is now, and no kid deserves that sort of hate hurled at them because
She was crushed by it too.
Yeah,
And they didn't even affect her life that badly. But
and that, you know, they're not her parents. Now, I feel sorry for their kids,
yeah.
at least two of whom are in the LGBTQIA category,
Mm-hmm.
and, you know, afraid to even come out to their parents for fear of being kicked out of their home.
Yeah. Ugh. Yeah.
You know, and we were prepared to take one of them if
if need be.
if that came down to it, because I knew that there was a really good chance that it could happen, that
Yeah.
she could get kicked out of her home before she turned 18.
Yeah.
And then there's no protections for kids like that.
Nope.
You know, there are shelters who will refuse them entry.
Salvation Army.
Yeah. The Salvation Army is known for refusing LGBTQIA kids from entering their shelters.
Yeah.
And we're talking kids here. Not
Kids,
27-year-old adults. We're talking children who've been, you know, booted
Misplaced.
from their homes.
Yeah.
You know, removed from their families, cut off from any support system. And you're going to tell them no because you don't like who they love.
And like I said, that causes suicide rates to increase in teenagers, especially in the LGBTQ.
And frankly, I'd rather my
IA
child,
family.
I'd rather accept my child and have him live than anything else. I mean, it's easier to accept it than to lose my child.
Yeah, exactly.
I can't fathom doing that to your child. People are awful to their children.
You are treated as subhuman.
And it's not right.
And of course, that's not the only thing the state has done.
Oh no, we've been super fun this last couple weeks.
Couple weeks.
Never mind.
How many years are in a term for a governor?
4 years a term. She's had her 2 terms. Thank God she is leaving. Let's see.
Bye, Mary Phelan.
Now, this next little blurb, discussion topic, whatever. Now, this is about, what's his name? Christopher Barnett. He is running for governor in Oklahoma.
Ugh.
He is claiming that he was hacked or a staffer did something or another. I don't know.
We go into it in this. So.
He has been a bit vague about it, but I wanted to put that up front, that he has claimed to have been hacked, and he claims these are not his words, but I'm sorry, I just don't believe it.
Yeah.
Not for a second. Who the heck is going to hack a nobody governor candidate in Oklahoma?
No.
I just don't buy it.
No.
I don't buy that he was hacked. Not for a second. I do believe that these are his true sentiments, and when he got called out on them and started receiving death threats, which, by the way, not cool.
No, we don't send death threats.
But, you know, that's when I was hacked. When he started receiving a lot of flack for it.
Yeah.
And, okay, so how about you go ahead and get started on this?
Okay. So, the Oklahoma candidate that we were talking about, Christopher Burnett, proposed that we euthanize poor and disabled people to avoid the use of food stamps. As a solution.
And other social services, too.
Yeah.
I think it was started out as it
was a discussion over food stamps.
It started out as that, but he ended up saying, let's just euthanize them all, fuck them.
Yeah, just the poor and disabled, fuck them all.
Yeah, if you got hurt on the job and now you're paralyzed from the waist down and can't work because your only job was in construction and that's all you know how to do, oh well, starve to death. And if you can't fend for yourself, we don't care. It's pretty much his sentiment. But anyway, let's read some of his.
Okay, so a woman named Lisa Schwart posted screenshots of the thread from the Christopher Gov campaign page that shares a name with the Christopher Burnett's campaign webpage. So everything after this is going to be quoted, and it's from the Raw Story article written by Noor al-Sabai. Sabai?
Where is it? Sabai, al-Sabai. I don't know.
I'm sorry if I'm butchering that, and they're probably not listening to this. Okay, so it started out with a post and a poll that said, food stamps, yes, good for the government, good for everybody, or no, it's awful and a waste of money or whatever. I don't know. The description will be down. A
link to the article.
A link to the article will be down in the description below. As will everything else. But it started out with comments saying, most receiving food stamps work or are disabled. A user commented on the poll post. Some are elderly. And then the ones who are disabled and can't work.
Now this is his response to that.
This is his response. The ones who are disabled and can't work, why are we required to keep them? And then he responded back saying, sorry, but euthanasia is cheaper and doesn't make everyone a slave to the government. Defending his now deleted comments, the account admin mused as to why American taxpayers should have to keep up people who cannot contribute to society any longer.
So if you just get too old to be able to work,
or
disabled, you go fuck yourself. Just go die in a corner. We don't care no more.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, but
that's not how we should treat American citizens.
Have loved ones.
Yeah.
Who would probably prefer they not starve to death in a corner.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. I don't know if that was my mother that needed food stamps. I mean, she's on Medicare and she gets Social Security, which, let's state for the record that we all pay into that, so that's her money she's just getting back from having paid into it her entire working life.
Yeah.
But were she to not have gotten as much as she does, were she in a worse situation, she earned a fairly decent living, she gets fairly decent Social Security benefits, her husband earned a really good living and gets really good Social Security benefits. But they don't deserve to die just because they've become elderly and are no longer able to work. They still have value to our family. Mm-hmm. They still have value to society. Mm-hmm. If we're not here to take care of one another, what the fuck is the point of this country?
What's the point of the world?
What the fuck is the point of trying to pretend like we have a civilized society if that's how we're going to treat people who are less fortunate or who have entered a period in their life where they're struggling, be it their golden years or their 20s. I mean, I spent a good portion of my 20s on food stamps, my kids on Medicaid, me on Medicaid when I was pregnant, and it allowed our family to survive, and now I'm not on Medicaid or food stamps or any sort of social services because I was able to survive those times when I needed them. When I needed the extra help, I got it, and me and my children all survived to live and now become productive citizens because we survived the leaner times. If we had not had that help, we would have starved.
Yeah.
And in the richest country in the world, nobody should be starving.
Nobody should be starving.
Nobody should be starving. Now, there are people who are starving, And yeah, we have our moments of food insecurity. But
Our water's bad.
our water sucks, but, where in this country doesn't it, right?
Yeah.
But, we need to take care of we need to have more compassion for one another in this country. We've lost a lot of compassion, and it's really, really sad, in my opinion.
Lost or never had?
No, I think we had it at one point. Otherwise,
Yeah.
we wouldn't have Social Security and food stamps
True.
and welfare and housing and all that stuff. Those programs are born out of looking around and going, there's a lot of really horrible things happening to people who don't have enough money. Let's do something about that.
Let's fix this
It's
problem.
people who had compassion for others. That's why we even have these programs in the first place. Why are we losing that compassion for one another? Why are we losing that care for one another? My neighbor's struggling, I help them out. When I'm struggling, they help me out. Societies have been run like that for a really long time. It just used to be more on the individual level. Well, now we have a shit ton of money, and we can hand it to the government for them to distribute it to the people who need it, because this is a really big country with a whole lot of people. It's a lot easier to distribute the money through the government than it is for individuals to hand it as needed, because you can create a bigger pot, a larger pool to pull that money out of to take care of everyone.
And then the funds aren't being allocated properly.
Well, that's a whole separate rant.
Yeah. But anyways, he commented after the have to keep people up who can't contribute to society any longer bit. He goes, obviously I'm not saying the government should put these people down. And then, contradicting his earlier statement, I'm just saying that we shouldn't keep them up.
So basically just let them starve rather than actively euthanizing them.
Yeah. So
not really better. I honestly would rather you just actively euthanize them than allow them to slowly starve to death.
Yeah, really. That's a much more fate.
Vicious way to kill somebody, in my opinion.
So, that's not any better. He just keeps digging this hole. And then somebody was like, if they can take care of themselves without government assistance, great. Oh, okay. Great. The comment continued. If not, let them starve and die. Easy as that. Easy as starving to death?
Yeah, that's not an easy way to die.
No! That's weeks of torment and torture. Months if they can really survive that long.
Right. Well, if you can get a little bit here and there, yeah, it could take months.
Yeah.
Because, you'd probably be able to occasionally get donations from churches or hit a soup kitchen, but it really just stretches it out.
Yeah, exactly. Your suffering continues longer. And that's if those, assistance programs in their local government are either running or will continue to run after the fact. And then he told KFOR that he received death threats since the comments went viral.
Gosh, I wonder why.
Huh, shocker. Poor people are pissed off that you said that they should die for being poor. And says that they aren't his and someone is posting on his behalf. You need to fire some fucking people.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but if you've got those kinds of people working for you, they got the idea that it would be okay to post something like this on your page.
Yeah.
From you. You set that tone. Mm-hmm. Even if it wasn't physically him posting these comments, there's a really good chance that he has expressed these sentiments.
Yeah.
In order for the staffer to think that it was okay to post these things. Mm-hmm. Somewhere along the line, they got the idea that this was okay.
Yeah, that this was cool.
And, they said they stand by, and then the interaction had been fun. Something like that. It's just heartless. And I'm really, really tired of all this heartlessness running around. We didn't used to be like this. Even 10, 15 years ago, this sort of behavior would have just been considered abhorrent and, oh my God, can you believe? And nobody would have stood behind it. But now, I know people personally that completely agree with that.
Yeah. Who said?
I have friends on Facebook that would completely 100% agree with what he's saying right there. We shouldn't keep them up. If they can't take care of themselves, fuck them.
Sorry, but it's 2018. I would expect this behavior
there are countries that,
from a third world country.
Right, but there are countries that we're supposed to be on par with who give very generous family leave when you have a baby or adopt. They give you very generous vacation leave. They give you very generous sick leave. They give you very generous medical benefits. They give you a very secure safety net. And they're among the happiest countries in this world.
Yeah.
Why is it so impossible for us to be that way too? We could have fucking outstanding education. We could be leading the world in renewable energies. We could be leading the world.
We were headed that way.
We could be leading the world in, we were. We could be leading the world in how we care for the other. We could be fixing world hunger. We could be almost single-handedly solving climate change. Or at the very least, leading the world in it. Mm-hmm. But no, instead, we're digging our fucking heels and acting like it's a game.
Yeah.
The things that are happening today don't have long-term consequences.
Yeah.
Every day that goes by that we don't do something about climate change is one more step towards a world none of us will ever recognize.
And that's a whole other separate issue.
That's a whole separate topic. I'm sorry I got a little sidetracked there, but it kind of comes back to why did this country devolve into a point where we are no longer taking care of one another, let alone this planet. Mm-hmm. Acting like it's okay to pollute all of the water, all of the air, and as long as business
water's not a right, it's a property. It's something that we can monetize and. Fuck you if you want clean fucking water.
Yeah, buy it from Nestle, okay?
Yeah.
Let's
fuck up the water so that they have to buy our purified version of it.
Right, because otherwise you're going to die first, because, Mm-hmm. We used to actually consider ourselves stewards of this planet. Mm-hmm. We considered ourselves stewards of this country for future generations. That's why we have all these national parks and designated landmarks. Mm-hmm. Is because we wanted to preserve these things for future generations. And our current administration wants to do nothing but drill, baby, drill in sacred sites. Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
No respect for...
Regardless of protests and regardless of, the feedback of the people.
Regardless of whose freaking land it is.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Was that your reservation we just fucked up? Sorry, not sorry. We wanted that oil. Mm-hmm. We wanted to run oil under your primary water source. So, yeah, you're going to have to just shut the fuck up. Mm-hmm. It's just so frustrating.
It's aggravating. It sucks. We hate it.
And this guy is really just a symptom of where we're at. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a part of the cancer. He's not the cancer.
Yeah. He's by far not the worst person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This country is leading down a path we can't come back from if we don't turn around soon.
It feels like it, but at the same time, honestly, all of this behavior could end up being a catalyst for a lot of really great change. I'm just afraid of
how much of
what irreparable damage might be done in the meantime. Mm-hmm. Especially to our environment. We are really at a tipping point, and and some scientists even think we're beyond that tipping point, that
it's already too late.
Right, it's already there's a certain amount of it we're not going to be able to fix or stop. Mm-hmm. We might be able to reduce the severity, but a lot of what we're seeing today is the new normal. We have fucked it up to the point where this is just how it's going to be. We have to try to make it not be quite as bad. Mm-hmm. But again, we've kind of strayed off the topic here.
Yeah,
but basically because it is a sentiment that keeps growing in this country, and it's leading us down a very dark path. I
mean, we follow or we're forced to follow, or we don't, and like the other countries.
Mm-hmm.
Like we follow them, or we're forced to follow them, or
we're just going to straight get left behind.
Yeah. We're
going to end up being a second world country if we don't watch ourselves.
Uh-huh.
From being the richest country in the world to being a second world country because we refuse to. It doesn't matter how much money you have if you're not spending it in the right places.
Mm-hmm, exactly.
It doesn't matter how rich you are if you're not making your house payment. They're gonna evict you. You know,
yeah.
It's sort of that mentality. It's like if you don't take care of what you have, it doesn't really matter how much money you've got.
Yeah.
And we have a huge chunk of the money in this world.
But we're not using it properly.
We're not paying our bills.
Yep.
We're paying ADT, but we're not paying the credit card bill. You know? We're paying for security. We're not making sure the mortgage is covered.
You're right. Okay, yeah. Military.
Yeah, we're paying for their military budget, but we're not paying for
infrastructure and...
You know, we're not buying our groceries.
Yeah.
We're not fixing the roof. We're not paving the driveway. We're not, but we're paying for ADT. They're covered.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got our home security covered. Who cares if the roof is caving in?
Yeah. Exactly. All right, we're running out of time on this portion of the podcast.
Yeah, it's about time for a break and for me to reset and get on a different topic.
We'll probably have another 15-minute conversation, maybe even 30, because next up we're talking about gun control.
Oh, good Lord.
All right, welcome back. Okay, so now we're going to talk about some gun issues. I know, another gun discussion. God damn it.
Seems like every time there's a shooting, everybody just wants to talk about gun control.
Ugh. But regardless of your take on this topic, it's still an important discussion that needs to be had. This last Friday, there was another school shooting, this time in Santa Fe, Texas. Texas isn't even in the top 10 states whose gun laws aren't, lenient or too lenient. They still have some pretty lenient gun policies, but they're, according to the Deseret News US and World article called 10 States with the Most Lenient Gun Laws, and another one called A Culture Cheat Sheet article called 9 States with the Loosest Gun Laws. They're not in the top 10 of lenient. Actually, Oklahoma is.
Oh, I don't doubt that.
Both of those lists.
Fortunately, our governor did just veto a bill that would allow unlicensed open carry.
Yeah.
Thank goodness she had her head screwed on right for that, but took her thinking cap off when it came to the same day. Took her thinking cap off for the LGBTQ.
Yep.
But had it on for the guns. Whichever, we'll sort the thing out.
Yeah.
The LGBTQ thing out in court, but at least she vetoed the stupid loosening of our gun laws.
Yeah.
But we still have very loose gun laws here.
Yeah.
And I'm honestly surprised we haven't had more school shootings here.
Well, we're about to go into that, actually. So, but that community was hit pretty hard with the tragedy, and many other communities can relate because, of course, our politicians, ranging from legislators to our president, have again decided to address this issue with their thoughts and prayers, and not with any discussion on how we can end this problem.
Well, and part of it comes down to they want to go, well, criminals don't follow the law, so what can you do? And, really glad we don't feel that way about all laws.
Right?
Gosh, I really wish they felt that way about, weed and stuff.
People are going to still smoke it, so we might as well make it legal.
Yeah, right? Why have laws against it? Criminals are just going to break those laws anyway.
So,
that's my least favorite gun argument.
We're going to talk about the incident first. We're going off of my source from Austin 360 that talked about the incident and continued to update it. So, the shooting resulted in the death of 10 people, 9 students and 1 teacher, and 13 injured. The shooter was a student. He was 17, and I don't feel it's necessary to share his name. I'm going to follow...
He doesn't need that notoriety.
No. I'm going to follow the Philip DeFranco model of, let's not give fame to the name of a monster. We have done it before, but I don't want to continue to do it. He used a .38 revolver.
It's just 38. You don't have to say that.
Oh, I don't. Okay. I don't know shit about guns.
Yeah. He used a .38 revolver, and the governor confirmed that there was a Molotov cocktail and various other explosive devices that were found. Investigators interviewed 2 other people in connection with the shooting, but was unclear if they had anything to do with it. And they are still investigating the school and other surrounding areas they were, I guess, at the time of recording this podcast. If you have any more updates on this topic, I can leave links. If you want any more updates on this topic, we can leave links in the description.
For other news sources who will keep updated and share about this. Now we're going to talk about gun violence stats and a discussion. I just kind of did a loose research, like the disclaimer says.
Okay.
But from 1999 to 2015, guns have been the #1 cause of homicide, suicide, and legal intervention. Legal intervention is death by gunshot from a law enforcement officer or military. Gun violence has been the #12 cause of deaths overall and #16 cause of unintentional death, causing a total of 533,879 deaths in a 16-year span, averaging out to about 33,367 gun-related deaths per year. In a research study done by Eleanor Kaufman about the impact of state laws on gun violence, she and her team looked at the strength of laws in 48 states and the homicide and suicide rates in more than 3,000 counties across the country. Her team gave each county 2 scores. One was a state policy score based on the strength of their laws, and an interstate policy score where the higher the score meant stricter gun laws in nearby states. Some of the laws that she looked at were laws mandating strict licensing requirements or increased law enforcement oversight of gun dealers.
Laws requiring background checks for private sales of firearms, including gun show sales. Laws that require individuals to obtain licenses to purchase or own firearms. Regulations setting minimum design standards for firearms to limit the availability of inexpensive handguns. Laws restricting multiple purchases of guns designed to prevent straw purchasers from buying multiple weapons on behalf of someone who cannot legally purchase a firearm. And laws requiring owners to report loss or theft of a firearm.
Using statistical models to compare groups of counties, the researchers found among firearm laws in a state were associated with lower rates of firearm homicide. Conversely, counties in states with weak gun laws had the highest rates of firearm homicide. They also discovered that counties in states with weaker gun laws had lower rates of firearm homicide, when surrounding states had strong gun laws. This suggests that when a state strengthens its firearm laws, both the state and its neighbors see protective benefits. And this was written in the CB.
So basically, if we had overall nationalized, across the board, stronger gun laws, we would see an overall national effect from it.
Exactly. It wouldn't be patchy. It wouldn't be like, well, we did some stuff but this place still...
Well, the gun nut's favorite poster boy for how gun laws don't work is Chicago.
Yeah.
Chicago has super strict gun laws. I mean, you're not even supposed to be able to buy them, carry them, nothing.
Yeah.
But the gun laws outside of Chicago, you go over to the next state, which is not that far from Chicago, you can buy all the guns you want and bring them back. So, super strict gun laws in Chicago to have no effect if the surrounding areas have really lax gun laws. So, but if Chicago had really strict gun laws, and the state itself had really strict gun laws, and then the surrounding states had really strict gun laws,
they would have a harder time getting guns.
It would have a greater effect on Chicago's gun rates and homicides if all of the surrounding areas also had strict gun laws.
Written in the CBS News article by Ashley Welch, who wrote about Kaufman and her research. But don't be so quick to say, "See, I told you, gun laws have no effect on gun violence." The author's research, just like we said, noted that the study is observational and can't prove a direct cause and effect between gun laws and gun violence. And then they also stated that not only a few states have strict gun laws, so the ability to detect an effect on the strictest laws may have been limited. Because
Chicago, strict gun laws, surrounding areas not so much.
Exactly. It's,
so it's really hard
the state-by-state basis.
It really is hard to truly study. Mm-hmm. But I mean, you've got examples like Australia. How many mass shootings with, these assault rifles? I know they're not called assault rifles. Please don't jump my ass.
I use that too.
But it's easier just to say, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
AR-15s and the like. They banned them.
Yeah.
They bought them all up from the people. They didn't go and steal nothing. They bought them all up. People willingly relinquished them. And they haven't had one since. They had one really awful mass shooting with one of these rifles. They banned them. Bam, done. They haven't had a problem since. Do they still have gun violence? Yes, because they still have guns. But not nearly on the proportion that we do, and not those rifles.
Yeah.
The problem is, we're not willing to do anything.
Yeah, it's not that we're not... Yeah.
We need to ban bump stocks. We need to severely reduce the prevalence of those AR-15s, etc. Those military-style weapons. Those aren't needed for home defense. Those are not needed to hunt with. You want a shotgun? By all means, go right on ahead, get you a shotgun. Mm-hmm. Protect your home. Buy a handgun. Protect your home. I'm all for that.
Well, actually, in this one article written by the New York Times...
I'm not saying there's not issues, but...
He talks about more regulation as opposed to taking away guns, because it is an issue to do that in America, because there's so many guns.
Right. Well, that's what I'm saying. It needs to be a voluntary relinquishment, like what they did in Australia. They had a buyback.
Yeah.
And you weren't forced... you weren't forced to give up your gun, but they would pay you for it if you gave it up.
Exactly.
You were rewarded for giving it up, but you weren't forced to do it.
I think that's actually a pretty good idea. I didn't read anything about that when I was
That's usually how they get people to give up their guns, is they buy them.
Yeah,
gun buybacks.
Most liberals are like, "Oh, they're gonna steal our guns."
No, I don't want that.
No.
Do I want stronger regulations? Yes. Do I want lots of gun buyback programs? By all means, let's scrap that stuff. Mm-hmm. Though that metal could be used for something else. Mm-hmm. But no, I'm absolutely not for coming and grabbing people's property.
No.
It is still cool. America, y'all.
Yeah, for real.
We have property rights.
Exactly.
We have a Fourth Amendment right to security in our property. I think it's fourth. We have the right to security in our property, and if you own a gun, that is part of your property, and you have a right to keep it if you have it already. Can we prevent you from buying more? By all means, let's do that. Will it stop everyone? No, it won't, but it will slow a lot of people down. Because what normal Joe Schmo is going to know to go where to find a gun that's illegal? Mm-hmm. Exactly. They're not going to know the right person to talk to, and the right person may not even talk to them because they're a Joe Schmo off the damn street. Mm-hmm. Most people are going to be deterred by the fact that it's illegal. Mm-hmm. There are people who will be able to get by that. They'll know the right people, etc. But the vast majority of us will be slowed way down.
Yeah, exactly.
And,
And then that means harsher consequences for those who do break the law or create a mass shooting.
Or allow their 17-year-old to get a hold of their handgun.
Yeah.
Why is this parent whose child got... because this kid took his parent's gun. Mm-hmm. And this happens a lot. These kids take their parents' guns. They don't belong to them. Mm-hmm. They didn't purchase these guns. Mm-hmm. But the guns weren't secured in a manner to where this person couldn't get a hold of it.
Exactly.
You know what? My grandfather had a closet full of guns. I mean,
under lock and fucking key.
But they were under lock and key, and I guarantee you none of us could have gotten to them without going to a lot of trouble.
Yeah.
And honestly, I think if your child picks up your gun and shoots somebody, you should be held criminally liable for being negligent. You left your gun in a place where they could get a hold of it. Mm-hmm. Where he could get it and go to that school and shoot up his classmates.
Yeah.
And there aren't any. Your 4-year-old, I could leave my gun sitting on your coffee table. Mm-hmm. Not that I would have a gun, not that it would be on your coffee table.
And not that my 4-year-old could get a hold of it.
No. Don't have any. None of these. This is a hypothetical situation here. If I had a handgun and I left it laying on your coffee table and she picked it up and shot somebody with it, I would not be held responsible for it in any way.
Nope. Nobody would look at you twice.
And it's happened.
Yeah.
Frequently.
Yeah.
Toddlers pick up guns and shoot people with them all the time.
Thinking it's a toy.
Yes.
I don't know how they can mistake it for a toy, though, because it's extremely heavy, but...
They see other people playing with it.
Yeah.
They don't know.
Fair enough. Ooh. Yeah, that would be scary.
And some guns are really easy to pull that trigger.
Yeah.
Now, again, I don't know a whole lot about each individual gun. I can't take one apart. I've shot one a couple of times. I'm not overly opposed to guns, but I think we need better control.
Yeah.
And, for anybody who wants, it's my Second Amendment right. Regulated. Well regulated is right there at the very, very first part of the sentence.
Yeah.
Well regulated. That means we get to make the rules. We get to make rules on who can own what, for how long, and what the conditions are, and, what kinds of weapons you can get a hold of, and, what size bullets you can have. You're not allowed to have a bazooka. You're not allowed to have a air to ground to air missile. Mm-hmm. I can't go out and buy a tank.
Yeah.
We have limits. There's limits to your First Amendment rights. There's limits to your Fourth Amendment rights.
Regulations for your cars, they can kill people.
Yeah. I cannot buy a car without a driver's license. I cannot, technically I could drive a car without a driver's license, but if I get caught driving without a driver's license, there are consequences. I'm going to have tickets, I'm going to have jail time, I'm going to, have to pay fines, possibly community service, whatever, for driving without a license. Because I'm endangering other people by having a car moving when I am not properly vetted for being able to use it.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
And honestly, I don't know shit about guns. I shouldn't be able to walk into Walmart and walk out with whatever fucking gun I feel like. I just shouldn't. Yeah. I should have to prove that I am capable of handling it. That I know how to store it. That I know how to keep it out of the hands of children.
How to clean it, how to keep it safe.
How to take care of it. How to keep from shooting somebody while I'm cleaning it.
How to shoot it. How to properly lock it, put it on safe mode.
Right, I should have to show proficiency in order to be able to purchase that item.
Just like I have to show proficiency for driving a car.
Exactly, because you can hurt somebody with it.
Exactly.
And I have to buy insurance in case I do hurt somebody with my car. Then I have a way to pay for the damages. I have a way to pay for their car. I have a way to pay for any medical that they might need if they're injured when I hit them. Mm-hmm. That's why I have to carry insurance on my car. So if I get into an accident, I don't have to try to go, oh shit, you have $100,000 in medical bills and I got to pay for $10,000 worth of damage to your car. No, I can go, hey, Progressive, you pay for this shit. I've been paying you premiums for years.
So in what situation would you use gun insurance? What would you use that for?
Basically, it would be if somebody's injured with your gun.
Why would they be? Oh, like hunting or something?
Or whatever. I'm not really sure on the particulars on this, but basically, yeah. If somebody's injured with your gun or whatever, there's a way to compensate. Or if you go on a mass shooting spree, guess what? Your insurance is going to start shelling out for some stuff because you've been paying your premiums or whatever. And if you haven't been, then there should be consequences. I mean...
Mm-hmm. Wouldn't that be just like a, hey, if you shoot people, we'll pay for their expenses?
It's amazing what people will do when they've got money in the game. Mm-hmm. It does change people's behavior. Mm-hmm. Well, I get discounts if I store my gun properly. Mm-hmm. I get discounts if I keep my bullets over here as opposed to over here. I get discounts for a certain amount of time with no accidents. Just like with a car. Mm-hmm. If I drive safely for 5 years, I get better discounts. Mm-hmm. If you store your gun, when they come and do inspections and they see that you're storing your guns appropriately, you get discounts.
Yeah.
The longer you go without anybody using your gun inappropriately, you get discounts. There's...
Okay.
I'm not sure. Your dad's the one that sought this one out, not me.
I'd have to talk to him about that.
Yeah, but I mean,
because I have some questions why would I be paying into something that really I'm not gonna be, would that account for a hunting license? If you have a hunting license,
perhaps you could get discounts on your hunting license if you're carrying insurance
and have fewer accidents.
Kind of like if I've got AAA and I need a hotel room because my car broke down, I can get discounts on a hotel room because I've got AAA. Mm-hmm. Or whatever. Progressive, I can get my towing for free through my insurance. Mm-hmm. Stuff like that.
Incentives.
Like I said, I haven't put, incentives for keeping it.
Yeah, but I'm trying to think of a situation where having gun insurance would be necessary.
I'm not, to pay for accidents and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Gun accidents happen.
Yeah. Yeah, I did say number 16 in, accidental shooting. So, they do happen.
They do happen. Guns misfire.
So, yeah. So there's that question answered.
But, okay, so let's see. Let's continue here.
We pretty much covered all that.
Well, let's see. Okay. America has a lot of guns, coupled with a lot of gun deaths, and compare it to Japan, who has less than one gun death for every 100 people, resulting in less than 10 gun deaths in a year.
No, it's
Am I reading
one
that?
gun for every 100 people.
Gotcha. Okay, I read that wrong. Well, and also, in order to get a gun in Japan, you have to jump through some massive hoops. You have to, be mentally evaluated, and you have to show proficiency, and you have to take certain courses, and you have to be reevaluated, and then you have to, it's a lot of hoops you have to jump through to get a gun. Mm-hmm. And even then, they still are heavily regulated. You can only buy a certain amount of bullets per year. You can only shoot it in certain places. You can only, and people pull up Sweden, mm-hmm. who supposedly have very lax gun laws. Well, they don't. They really don't. Mm-hmm. There's everybody can have one, but there's extremely heavy regulations on what kind of gun you can carry, what conditions you can have it under. How many bullets
regulations.
It's heavily regulated. Mm-hmm. Because they understand that these are not toys. Yeah. And a lot of people treat their guns like they're just damn toys. Yeah. And they're not. You're carrying a deadly weapon on your back.
You can kill someone with that.
And it's not a liberal snowflake thing to just not want to see a rifle when you go to the fucking grocery store. Yeah. I shouldn't have to worry about that in the middle of America on a sunny Sunday afternoon when I just want to go pick up some eggs, Mm-hmm. It's not a dangerous place to be. Mm-hmm. Until you bring a gun into it. Mm-hmm. The people who just...
I don't think the Walmart on our side of town has a gun.
I have never seen anybody open carrying in Walmart that I'm aware of. Yeah. I'm sure.
I've seen.
I'm sure there have been people with holstered guns, but I probably just assumed they were law enforcement and slid on past it. Yeah, pretty much. Because most of the people, at least around here in our very safe white bread town. Yeah.
We're not saying that because it's white, it's safe.
I meant white bread, as in Wonder Bread, as in so bland, so average, so normal.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't mean it in like
White.
like skin tone.
Red.
Yeah, that's not how I meant it. Just very bland and boring and normal and everyday. And, we don't have a lot of crime here. We do have some, but we don't have a lot. And,
It's getting worse, though, it seems.
It has been. When I spent my whole life living on the street that I do and hardly any violence anywhere near us. I mean, a murder every 5 years. I mean, and then last year there's a shooting just down the street.
Yeah.
Cops are shooting a suspect. More people are starting to, it's...
People are dying across town, like murdered
more
in their
murders in the area, it's...
Someone was raped down the street that I work on, and, she was grabbed and pulled into the bushes and raped on 24th, and...
Sadly, that's always kind of been a problem here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it because it's college town?
Yeah.
Oh, it's so gross. That's a whole other topic of discussion.
And we are starting to run out of time, so let's wrap this up.
So I'm going to have you talk about our tivaslove store.
Alright, so we are resellers. In this day and age, you need a lot of side hustles just to make ends meet. But, so we're on eBay at http:// stores.ebay.com/tivaslove, Poshmark at tivas_love, and we are now on Mercari at tivaslove.
Capital T, capital L. And then our items range in both men's and women's, varying in size and style.
From plus size to extra small.
Yep, and you can always follow our Twitter and Facebook searched under tivaslove to see new items.
And we do post regularly.
And as always, we'll leave a link in the description down below. I am Eli.
I am Jazz.
Follow us on our podcast at Eli Podcasts. And we'll see you guys next week. Goodbye. Oh, like, comment, share, and subscribe.